Before this match began, many people believed that Belgium's fate was no longer entirely in their own hands. The golden generation that shocked the world at the 2018 FIFA World Cup had entered this tournament carrying enormous expectations. Yet, after two frustrating draws, 1-1 against Egypt and 0-0 against Iran, the criticism was relentless. The golden generation is over. Belgium has lost its edge. This team is no longer among the elite. Those were the headlines dominating newspapers and social media across Europe. But football has a cruel and beautiful way of changing everything in a single night. In their final Group G match, Belgium faced New Zealand, a team ranked 85th in the world. On paper, it looked straightforward. In reality, it was anything but, because Belgium didn't just need a win. Depending on the result of the simultaneous Egypt versus Iran match, they might also need a large victory to survive. This was not simply a group stage game. It was a fight for redemption, a fight to keep the golden generation alive. ND for Kevin De Bruyne, competing in his fourth consecutive World Cup, it may have been one of the defining matches of his international career. By the final whistle, the stadium was exploding with celebration. Belgium had won 5-1. But behind that scoreline was a story few people expected. How did a team that struggled to score for two straight matches suddenly become an attacking machine? Why did Belgium look like a completely different side? And how did one substitute striker manage to score with his very first touch after entering the pitch? Tonight, we're going beyond the result. We're diving into the dramatic comeback of Belgium's golden generation, the brilliance of Leandro Trossard, the leadership of Kevin De Bruyne, and the unforgettable impact of Romelu Lukaku. And most importantly, we'll reveal the tiny detail that ultimately decided who finished top of Group G, because in this World Cup, a single goal changed everything. When the tournament began, Belgium was still considered one of the stronger teams in the competition. The squad contained experienced stars, Champions League winners, and players who had spent years competing at the highest level. Yet the opening two matches exposed serious problems. Against Egypt, Belgium dominated possession but wasted chance after chance. The match ended 1-1, leaving fans disappointed. Then came Iran. Belgium controlled the ball again, but Iran's disciplined defensive block frustrated them for 90 minutes. The game ended 0-0. Belgium can no longer break down organized defenses. De Bruyne is no longer the same player. The golden generation has reached its end. The criticism grew louder. On social media, supporters debated whether Belgium should have rebuilt the squad earlier. Some questioned the tactical approach. Others wondered if this would be the final World Cup for several legendary players. What do you think? At that moment, did you believe Belgium could still become a serious contender? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Under that pressure, Belgium entered the match against New Zealand knowing that anything less than victory could mean elimination. And from the opening minutes, they played with a completely different intensity. In the 4th minute, Belgium registered their first shot of the game. In the 11th minute, Leandro Trossard cut inside and struck with his left foot. Moments later, Kevin De Bruyne unleashed a powerful long-range effort. The message was clear. Belgium had come to attack. New Zealand struggled to get out of their own half as the Red Devils pressed aggressively and moved the ball at a much faster tempo than in their previous matches. Then came the first major controversy. In the 20th minute, De Bruyne drove through the center and threaded a perfect pass into the penalty area. Trossard raced onto it and fired toward goal, but the ball struck a defender near the arm. The Belgian players immediately appealed for a penalty. The stadium held its breath. VAR reviewed the incident. After a tense delay, the decision came. No penalty. The crowd erupted in frustration, and for a brief moment, it felt like Belgium's bad luck might continue. But this team refused to panic. In the 28th minute, Belgium earned a corner kick. The delivery caused chaos inside the box. The ball ricocheted off a defender, and Leandro Trossard reacted first, smashing it into the net. Belgium won. New Zealand 0. The relief was immediate. Players who had looked tense in previous matches suddenly appeared energized. The goal seemed to release weeks of accumulated pressure. Belgium dominated possession for the remainder of the first half, moving the ball confidently and forcing New Zealand deeper and deeper into defense. Yet one goal was not enough, because elsewhere, Egypt and Iran were still level. Belgium needed more, and what happened after halftime would transform the entire group. The second half had barely begun when Kevin De Bruyne produced another moment of quality. From the left side, he slipped a precise pass into Trossard inside the penalty area. Trossard beat one defender, created a shooting angle, and fired. The ball took a slight deflection. Goal. Belgium 2. New Zealand 0. Trossard had doubled Belgium's lead, and suddenly qualification was within reach. But the most spectacular moment of the night was still to come. At 21 minutes into the second half, Trossard surged forward from near the halfway line. The ball broke loose after a challenge and rolled perfectly into the path of Kevin De Bruyne. The Belgian captain took one glance at the goalkeeper. Then, with remarkable composure, he struck a left-footed shot that curled into the far corner. Belgium 3. New Zealand 0. The stadium erupted. This was the De Bruyne that football fans around the world had admired for years. Calm, intelligent, and devastatingly precise. And yet, the drama of this match was far from over. Because New Zealand was about to remind everyone that World Cup football is never predictable. The match seemed to be slipping away from New Zealand, down by 3 goals against one of Europe's football giants. Many teams would have accepted defeat. But World Cup matches have a way of producing moments that defy expectations, and New Zealand refused to surrender without a fight. Despite spending most of the evening chasing the ball, the Oceania representatives continued to press whenever opportunities appeared. Every tackle became more aggressive. Every loose ball was contested with renewed determination. They knew their chances of advancing were fading, but they also understood that representing their country on football's biggest stage meant playing until the very last whistle. For Belgium, however, there was another challenge. A 3-0 lead looked comfortable, but the players knew that every goal mattered. In another stadium, Egypt and Iran were still battling in a match that would directly influence the Group G standings. Nobody on the Belgian bench could afford to relax. The coaching staff repeatedly signaled from the sidelines, urging the players to maintain their concentration. Here would be no celebrating early. There would be no taking unnecessary risks. This was 90 minutes that could define their entire tournament point. One of the biggest reasons behind Belgium's transformation was the outstanding partnership between Kevin De Bruyne and Leandro Trossard. For 2 matches, Belgium's attack had looked disconnected. The midfield controlled possession, but the final pass was often missing. Against New Zealand, everything suddenly clicked. De Bruyne dictated the tempo with remarkable intelligence. Rather than forcing risky passes, he patiently waited for spaces to appear before delivering perfectly weighted balls into dangerous areas. Trossard rewarded that trust with relentless movement. Instead of staying in one position, he drifted across the front line, constantly dragging defenders out of shape. Every time New Zealand attempted to reorganize, Trossard appeared somewhere unexpected. His first goal gave Belgium confidence, his second goal gave them belief, and his overall performance reminded the football world why he has become such an important player at both club and international level. Across social media, reactions poured in almost instantly. Where was this Belgium in the first 2 matches? Trossard has completely changed this team. De Bruyne is still one of the greatest midfielders in world football. Many supporters who had criticized Belgium only days earlier were now praising the team's attacking football. Others remained cautious. Some fans argued that New Zealand simply could not match Belgium's quality and warned against reading too much into one dominant performance. It was a fair point. The real test would come in the knockout stage against stronger opponents. Still, confidence is often the most valuable currency in tournament football. Sometimes all a team needs is one convincing victory to completely change its mentality. Then, just as Belgium appeared to have complete control, the match took another dramatic turn. Late in the second half, New Zealand earned a corner kick. The delivery caused confusion inside Belgium's penalty area. The ball bounced loose. Elijah just reacted first. With quick instincts, he fired the rebound into the back of the net. Belgium 3, New Zealand 1. The New Zealand players celebrated passionately. For them, the goal represented far more than reducing the deficit. It was proof that they could still compete against one of Europe's strongest football nations. Their supporters inside BC Place erupted with pride, knowing their team had continued fighting until the very end. At the same time, Belgium suddenly had something new to think about. Conceding one goal was not disastrous. But momentum in football can change within minutes. One more goal for New Zealand could have created real tension. One defensive mistake could have transformed a comfortable evening into a nightmare. The Belgian bench reacted immediately. The coaching staff looked toward one man, a striker with unmatched experience, a player who had scored more international goals than anyone else in Belgian history, Romelu Lukaku. Even before stepping onto the pitch, Lukaku's presence changed the atmosphere. Defenders immediately became more alert. The crowd began to applaud. Television cameras focused entirely on him. Everyone knew exactly what he was capable of. Lukaku entered the match carrying an extraordinary international record, 90 goals for Belgium. Over the years, he has divided opinion among football fans. Some remember missed chances in major tournaments. Others remember his incredible scoring consistency over more than a decade. But statistics tell a remarkable story. Few strikers in international football history have matched his goal-scoring record, and on this night, he needed only one opportunity to remind the world why. Almost immediately after entering the field, Belgium launched another attack. The ball was worked down the right wing. A perfectly measured cross floated toward the center of the penalty area. Standing almost completely unmarked was Romelu Lukaku. He timed his movement perfectly, rose above the defender, and powered a brilliant header into the net. Goal. His very first involvement. His very first touch. Belgium 4, New Zealand 1. The stadium exploded. Belgian supporters celebrated wildly, while teammates rushed toward Lukaku with huge smiles. Moments like these are exactly why experienced players remain so valuable in tournament football. Sometimes they don't need 20 touches. Sometimes they don't even need 5.1 touch is enough. Football fans online immediately reacted. Classic Lukaku. That's what elite strikers do. One touch. One goal. Even many of his longtime critics admitted that his impact was impossible to ignore. His goal effectively ended any remaining hope of a New Zealand comeback. Yet Belgium wasn't finished. Deep into stoppage time, they launched one final attack. Rather than protecting the scoreline, they continued pushing forward. The reward came with another goal that made the final score an emphatic 5-1. The celebrations began immediately, but inside the Belgian camp, players were still looking toward another screen. The Egypt vs Iran match had just finished. The result, a 1-1 draw. That single result completely transformed Group G. Belgium and Egypt both finished with 5 points. For a brief moment, nobody inside the stadium seemed entirely certain who had qualified as group winners. Then the official standings appeared. Belgium, 5 points, goal difference, +4. Egypt, 5 points, goal difference, +2. That was it. Not head-to-head. Not goals scored. Not possession. Just 2 goals of difference over 3 group stage matches. Belgium had completed one of the most dramatic turnarounds of the tournament, from 3rd place before kickoff to finishing first in the group. One extraordinary performance had changed everything. Which moment surprised you the most in this incredible match? Was it Trossard's brilliant brace, De Bruyne's world-class finish, or Lukaku scoring with his very first touch? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more World Cup coverage, football analysis, and unforgettable stories from the world's biggest stage. Because while Belgium's group stage journey has ended, the biggest challenge is only just beginning. The knockout rounds are waiting, and that's where legends are truly made. Belgium had survived. But if anyone believed that this emphatic 5-1 victory guaranteed a smooth path through the remainder of the tournament, history tells a very different story. The FIFA World Cup has always been a competition where momentum can change everything, but it has also been a tournament where one great performance means nothing unless it is followed by another. Belgium knows this better than almost any nation. Over the past decade, the Red Devils have consistently been among the world's strongest teams. Their so-called golden generation featured extraordinary talent at every position. Players like Kevin De Bruyne, Romelu Lukaku, Eden Hazard, Thibaut Courtois, Jan Vertonghen, Toby Alderweireld and many others helped transform Belgium from an occasional contender into one of football's global powerhouses. Yet despite all that talent, one prize has remained painfully out of reach: the FIFA World Cup trophy. The closest Belgium came was in 2018, when they captivated the football world with thrilling attacking football. After defeating Brazil in a memorable quarterfinal, they reached the semi-finals, only to lose narrowly to eventual champions France. They eventually finished third, the best World Cup result in Belgian history. For many supporters, that tournament represented a once-in-a-generation opportunity. Many believed that team had everything needed to become world champions. When the opportunity slipped away, fans wondered if another chance would ever come. Years have passed since then. Several iconic players have retired from international football, while others are approaching the final stages of their careers. Naturally, questions have emerged about whether Belgium can remain among football's elite. That is why this victory over New Zealand carries significance beyond 3 points. It wasn't simply about qualifying for the knockout stage. It was about restoring belief. For 2 matches, Belgium looked hesitant. Every attack seemed burdened by pressure, and every missed chance increased the weight on the players' shoulders. Against New Zealand, those doubts seemed to disappear. The passing became quicker, the movement became sharper, and the confidence returned. Sometimes football is just as much a mental game as it is a physical one. One convincing victory can completely transform the atmosphere inside a dressing room. Players begin trusting each other again, supporters regain hope, and even opponents start viewing the team differently. Following the match, social media was flooded with reactions from around the world. Some fans praised Leandro Trossard as the man who reignited Belgium's attack. Others highlighted Kevin De Bruyne's leadership, pointing out that even after years at the highest level, he continues to dictate matches with remarkable composure. Many also celebrated Romelu Lukaku's instant impact, calling his first-touch goal the perfect example of why experienced strikers remain invaluable during major tournaments. Of course, not everyone was convinced. Some analysts argued that Belgium's dominance came against a lower-ranked New Zealand side and warned against overreacting. They pointed out that the knockout stage would present a completely different level of competition. That argument carries weight. In football, confidence is important, but quality opposition exposes weaknesses quickly. Belgium's defense, while largely solid against New Zealand, still showed moments of vulnerability when conceding late in the match. Against stronger attacking teams, those small lapses could prove costly. The midfield also cannot rely solely on Kevin De Bruyne's creativity. Other players will need to step forward if Belgium hopes to challenge the tournament favorites. The knockout rounds offer no second chances. One mistake, one defensive error, or one missed opportunity can be enough to end years of preparation. Belgium understands this reality better than most. Still, there are encouraging signs. Leandro Trossard appears to be entering top form at exactly the right time. His movement, finishing, and decision-making against New Zealand demonstrated the confidence of a player ready to embrace a leading role. Kevin De Bruyne continues to prove why he is regarded as one of the greatest midfielders of his generation. Even when opponents focus on stopping him, he finds space that others simply cannot see. His vision remains extraordinary. Then there is Romelu Lukaku. For years, his international career has been judged almost entirely by performances at major tournaments. Critics have often focused on the chances he missed, while supporters point instead to the remarkable number of goals he has scored for Belgium. Against New Zealand, he reminded everyone that elite strikers require only a single opportunity to change a match. One cross, one header, one goal. That efficiency could become crucial in the knockout stage, where chances are often limited. As Belgium prepares for the next round, the expectations surrounding the team have changed dramatically. Only days ago, many questioned whether they even deserved to qualify. Now they advance as group winners. That transformation highlights one of football's greatest lessons. Momentum is fragile. Public opinion changes quickly. One poor performance can erase months of praise, while one outstanding victory can silence countless critics. Yet true greatness is measured not by one match, but by consistency under pressure. The upcoming knockout match will reveal whether Belgium's resurgence is genuine or simply the result of facing weaker opposition. Can this team maintain the attacking intensity they displayed against New Zealand? Can De Bruyne continue inspiring those around him? Can Trossard become the tournament's breakout star? Can Lukaku deliver when Belgium needs him most? Those questions remain unanswered, and perhaps that uncertainty is exactly what makes the World Cup so captivating. Every match creates new heroes, every round produces unforgettable moments, and every tournament writes stories that fans remember for generations. As for New Zealand, although their journey ends in the group stage, they leave with valuable experience. Facing one of Europe's strongest nations is never easy. Despite the final score, they continued competing until the final whistle and earned a memorable World Cup goal through Elijah Just. That determination deserves recognition. Many smaller football nations dream simply of reaching the stage, and competing against world-class opponents provides invaluable experience for future generations. Their campaign may be over, but the lessons learned could help shape the future of New Zealand football. In the end, this match represented far more than a 5-1 scoreline. It was a story of pressure, redemption, resilience, and belief. It reminded us why football remains the world's most beloved sport. A team written off after 2 disappointing draws rediscovered its identity when it mattered most. A group that many believed had reached the end of its journey suddenly found new life. And a single evening completely rewrote the Group G standings. As Belgium moves forward into the knockout stage, one thing is certain: the real challenge is only beginning. Will this stunning victory become the turning point that launches Belgium toward another historic World Cup run? Or will it simply be remembered as one unforgettable night before an even greater test awaits? Only the matches ahead can answer that question. Until then, one message echoes across the football world: never underestimate a team fighting to keep its dream alive. If you enjoyed this story, share your predictions in the comments. Do you believe Belgium has what it takes to challenge for the World Cup title, or do you think stronger opponents will expose the weaknesses we discussed today? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into the biggest stories from the world of football. The World Cup always has another unforgettable chapter waiting to be written, and we'll be here to cover every moment.